Making It Work is brought to you by Wealthsimple, which gives everyone access to simple, affordable investing on cruise control.
My husband just turned 45, making him 16 years older than me. Most people are used to it now, but it's often a shock at first. For the first year of our relationship, I felt like I had to defend myself against people's sometimes gross implications, like the assumption that I must have married him for money, or that I was the result of some sort of midlife crisis on his part. Of course, most people are polite, almost too polite. No one wants to act like they're judging, so they pass it off by saying things like, "You don't have to explain or justify anything." Or they'll say possibly the most cringeworthy, though well-meaning, thing of all. Age is just a number. In reality, our age difference affects many aspects of our relationship. That's not to say that we shouldn't have gotten married, but it does mean that our energy levels don't always sync up. It means he doesn't always get some of my more millennial affectations. And yes, it affects what our relationship looks like financially. Money plays a vital part in your relationship, no matter who you are. But when your partner has nearly 2 decades of life experience over you, the impact is pretty much impossible to ignore. Here are the financial truths about our relationship. Number 1, the fact is he makes more money than me, and that takes the pressure off. My husband has nearly 2 decades more experience in the workforce than I do. So yes, he makes a lot more money than I do. He also has great credit, a low interest line of credit, a small bit of land, significant savings, and generally more financial flexibility than me. We were transparent from the start of our relationship about our respective incomes, and he's always believed in addressing the imbalance. For example, when we moved in together, he didn't think it made sense to split rent 50-50. His line of credit has also come in handy in situations that would have left me in total despair, like our cat's extreme medical bills. Number 2, but I sometimes have to remind him not to parent me financially. My husband is always the first to reach for his wallet when we go out to eat, to offer to buy tickets when we go somewhere, to brush off something with, "Don't worry about it." Once, he even offered to buy paint for me when I wanted to repaint our second bedroom, even though I was the one who thought it needed a paint job. I still work on knowing when to accept his help, and he's still learning to let me take the occasional financial blow. Number 3, we are a millennials' idea of having our shit together, but not a Gen Xers. Aside from the aforementioned land and my husband's extensive collection of model trains, we don't really have assets to our names, and none of them are shared. Buying a house in Toronto is next to impossible currently, but it wasn't when my husband was my age, and 16 years later, he wishes he'd taken the chance back then. My millennial friends think we're fiscally responsible because we pay our bills on time, don't spend money on stupid shit, have plenty left over at the end of the month, and aren't constantly panicked about finances. But compared to his friends, we have few investments and still don't have an ideal retirement plan. Having your shit together just looks different at every age. Number 4, he's taught me more from his mistakes than he has from his successes. I admire a lot about my husband, like that he paid off the $24,000 he borrowed to buy his land in less than 2 years. But he inspires me most because when he was my age, he was in way worse shape than me. He had terrible credit and couldn't afford much more than a bedbug-infested bachelor in one of the city's worst neighborhoods. Money burned a hole in his pocket and went straight to booze, cigarettes, music, fast food, and games. His success with finances came later, and he's shown me that you can bounce back through discipline and eliminating bad influences. I've gotten a start on many things, like savings and a retirement plan, earlier than he did, and my current money habits are what his were at about 35. More than anything, it's nice to have a reminder that I'm not damned to eternal financial hell for making one mistake. Number 5, he is far better at talking about money than I am. I wouldn't be able to write any of these things if it weren't for how often and how openly he's gotten me to talk about money. I came from a family that simply didn't talk about it. But the older you get, the bigger a part money plays in your life. When my husband had to make bigger financial decisions, that meant he had to talk to more and more people about money. When we have money conversations, he definitely does more of the talking, although lately I have been asking more questions. Generally, my ideas are far more simplistic, such as suggesting eating less takeout or buying more in bulk, while his ideas are more advanced and long-term. He recently brought up the idea of investing in real estate, but he's patient and keeps encouraging me to get some financial guts. Obviously, being married to an older man isn't some sort of ticket to a fabulous and worry-free life, nor is it some sort of get-ahead strategy. I'm not here to tell you that you should marry an older man because it'll make you so much better with money. But I am saying that when you and your partner come from different financial backgrounds, for whatever reason, your differences should be embraced for what they can teach you, never sources of stress.
No matter your age or level of success, you deserve to plan for the future you want. And with a company like Wealthsimple, investing is so much easier than you might think. Wealthsimple is online investing that's as simple and human as it gets. In just 5 minutes, they'll build you a custom portfolio to fit your personal goals and timeline. Just answer a few easy questions and they'll manage your money for you on autopilot. Set it, forget it, and let your money grow in the background. You can turn on automatic deposits as well as set up a smart savings account with higher rates than big banks for your shorter-term goals, your wedding, your next great adventure, or that handbag you need. They also have a socially responsible portfolio that invests in green stocks and companies that support gender diversity. The fees are much lower than big banks, and TFD viewers will get their first $10,000 managed for free with no minimum deposit. Check them out at wealthsimple.com/TFD or use the link in our description. There are no account minimums, and it only takes a few minutes to start. No excuses.